There have been a lot of videos lately saying how Roth conversions just simply don't make sense for retirees. While that may be true for some, I'm here to tell you about the 3 specific retirees who need to do Roth conversions or risk irreparable losses to their retirement savings. Let's start with the first retiree. Most people think Roth conversions are only worth it if you plan to live forever. I'm here to prove that wrong. This is Mark. He's 60 years old with $1.9 million in a traditional IRA and $100,000 in a brokerage account. He plans to spend $80,000 a year until Social Security starts at age 70, when he'll receive $45,000 per year. The key point in this example, though, is his life expectancy is only age 82. Now, Mark does absolutely no Roth conversions. He'll just live off of his brokerage account for a year, then pull from his IRA for the next 14 years. Even though he's retired, his IRA keeps growing from $1.9 million to around $2.7 million by age 75. At that point, his first RMD is over $110,000, pushing him into the 24% tax bracket and adding $200 per month in Medicare surcharges. By age 82, he's paid close to $900,000 in taxes and leaves behind about $1.4 million after tax. Let's look at what happens if Mark started converting $90,000 per year from age 60 to age 70. He uses his small taxable account and partial IRA withdrawals to fund living expenses and pay the taxes on conversions from cash. By age 70, his traditional IRA is down to about $1.3 million, while his Roth sits at roughly $1.1 million. When RMDs then kick in at age 75, they're only around $56,000. Combined with Social Security, his total income is around $101,000, keeping him in the 22% tax bracket. No Medicare surcharges. By age 82, Mark has paid roughly $350,000 in total lifetime taxes and still has over $2 million in his combined accounts. No conversions, he paid $900,000 in lifetime taxes and ended with $1.4 million. With conversions, he paid $350,000 in lifetime taxes and had over $2 million remaining. Mark saved $550,000 and kept an extra $600K in wealth just by acting during his 60s instead of waiting. This is with an early life expectancy. This looks even better if he lived longer. Here's the critical point. This window only exists between ages 60 and 70. After 70, Social Security starts, and sure, you can do some Roth conversions up until RMDs start at age 75, but they're just not as good as that early window. Now, what if this IRA is only growing for your kids? That's retiree number 2. And without a plan in place, they'll be walking into an $800,000 tax bill. Let's talk about the legacy planner. Retiree number 2 is the retiree who doesn't need all of their money. Your IRA is for emergencies, or you're planning to leave it to your kids. Under current law, when your kids inherit your traditional IRA, they have 10 years to drain the entire account. Every dollar comes out as ordinary income. The worst part is that those distributions might happen during their peak earning years, when they're in their highest tax brackets. Let me show you what this actually looks like. You have $2 million in a traditional IRA, and your plan is to leave it to your daughter. Your daughter's 45, she's a physician, and she's making $350,000 a year. When you pass away at age 82, she inherits your $2 million IRA. Over the next 10 years, she's forced to take out $200,000 per year on top of her $350,000 salary. Her income jumps to $550,000. She's now in the 35% federal tax bracket. Add on state taxes, let's say 6% or so, she's paying about 41% on every dollar of that inheritance. Your $2 million IRA becomes a $1.18 million inheritance after tax. The other $820,000 goes to the IRS. You spend 30 years building that wealth and your daughter is only keeping 59 cents on the dollar. But what if you started converting at 65 instead? You convert $200,000 per year for 10 years while staying in the 24% tax bracket. You pay about $48,000 per year in taxes, totaling $480,000 over the decade. By age 75, you've moved the full $2 million traditional IRA into a Roth. When you pass away, your daughter inherits your Roth IRA. She still has to take distributions over 10 years, but this time every dollar is tax-free. So you paid $480,000 in taxes, but your daughter avoided $820,000. Net family savings, $340,000. Now that brings us to our last retiree. If you're married, you're going to want to stick around for this one. Let's talk about the widow penalty. Right now, as a married couple filing jointly, the top of the 24% tax bracket for 2025 is $394,600. When you become a widow or a widower, you file as a single taxpayer. The 24% bracket for single filers ends at $197,300, half of the married filing jointly bracket. Now let me show you how this plays out. Consider a married couple, both age 72. They have $1.8 million in the husband's traditional IRA. Husband passes away unexpectedly at age 78. As a couple, their RMD was $140,000. Combined with both Social Securities of $60,000, their taxable income was $160,000. They paid about $28,000 in federal taxes, about a 17.5% effective tax rate. And as a widow, the wife still has that same $1.8 million IRA. And her RMD is still $140,000. But now she's a single filer. Her federal tax bill jumps to $42,000. Effective tax rate, instead of 17.5%, is now 30%. That's an extra $14,000 per year for the rest of her life. Plus, she lost $24,000 of Social Security income because her husband passed away. When one spouse dies, the survivor keeps the higher benefit, but loses the smaller one entirely. So she's making less money and paying higher taxes. This is the widow's penalty. Over the next 15 years, that's an extra $210,000 in taxes she didn't have to pay. Now, let's see what would have happened if Roth conversions were done from ages 65 to 72, just over when Social Security began. They convert $180,000 per year to a Roth, total of $1.26 million converted while filing jointly. They pay about $43,000 per year in taxes, a total of $301,000 over the 7 years. By age 73, they have $1.26 million in a Roth and $540,000 left in that traditional IRA. When the husband passes at age 78, the widow inherits both accounts. Her RMD on the traditional IRA is only $42,000 instead of $140,000. Her tax bill, as a single filer, very manageable, only $12,000 per year. She saved roughly $30,000 per year in taxes. Over 15 years, that's $450,000. Subtract the $301,000 they paid during the conversion years, and they're still ahead by $149,000. So here's what you do while you're both still alive. Convert systematically. Use those wide married filing jointly tax brackets while you have the chance. When one spouse passes, the survivor inherits a much smaller traditional IRA, or ideally a fully converted Roth, fully averting the widow's penalty. The brutal truth is, one of you will outlive the other. And when that happens, the surviving spouse could face a massive, permanent tax increase. If you recognize yourself in any of those three profiles, here's exactly what you need to do today. First, identify the window. Your biggest window begins the moment you retire, until age 70, when Social Security begins. Then another small window is up until age 75, when RMDs begin. Then it slams shut. Step 2, calculate your conversion capacity. You want to convert strategically up to a specific tax bracket ceiling. For most people, that's the top of the 22% tax bracket. $206,700 of taxable income for married couples in 2025. But here's the key. Taxable income is not the same as total income. You get to subtract your standard deduction first. Here's how you figure out your actual conversion capacity. First, start with the top of the 22% tax bracket, $206,700. Add back the standard deduction, which is $30,000 for a married couple. This gives you a total income limit of $236,700. Now, subtract out your current income sources, 85% of Social Security, pensions, investment income, such as interest and dividends. What's left is your conversion capacity for that year. So let's put this into an example. Let's say you're a married couple with $50,000 of Social Security income. Now, only 85% of that is taxable. So we'll use $42,500, a pension of $30,000. Total current income is $72,500 between those two sources. You can convert up to $164,200 this year and stay in the 22% tax bracket. The key here is to know the bracket ceiling and then just do the math. Step 3, pay the tax from cash. If you convert $100,000 and pay the 22% tax bill from the IRA itself, you've only moved over $78,000 to the Roth. You just gave up $22,000 of future tax-free growth. Pay the tax from savings, brokerage accounts, or cash reserves. Let the full $100,000 land in the Roth so it can compound tax-free for the next 20 or 30 years. Step 4, reassess this process every single year. Every year you should ask yourself, did my income change? Did the market drop, giving me another conversion opportunity? And am I still within my target bracket? Tax planning is a process. Okay, and here's a little bonus. I call this the market crash opportunity, and I just alluded to it. If the market drops by 20 or 30% while you're in your conversion window, don't panic. It's actually a gift. Here's an example. Let's say your IRA is worth $2 million. You were planning to convert $200,000 this year. All of a sudden, the market drops 25%. Your IRA is now worth $1.5 million. If you convert $200,000, you're converting about 13.3% of your account instead of 10%. You pay the same tax though, but when the market recovers, you've locked in more shares in your Roth and a discount on your lifetime tax bill. So let's bring this back to where it all started. If you're the early retiree, the legacy planner, or married and planning for your surviving spouse, then it's time to act now. If you're watching this and thinking, I need help figuring out how much I should convert, then I encourage you to click the link in the description below. You'll answer a few questions about your situation, and I'll send you a personalized video within 48 hours straight to your inbox. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.